Link's Awakening has always been a weird one. A Game Boy game that's very beloved. It eschews a lot of the typical Zelda trappings. It isn't about Zelda, it isn't about picking up a Triforce. It's all about exploring a brand new island called Kerba as you wake up a giant fish and there's a giant big egg on a mountain. And there are other Nintendo characters all over the place. Chain Chomp, Goomba, lots of different Nintendo characters, a character from that game about a frog. Yeah, it started life as a port of A Link to the Past for the Game Boy, but became very much its own thing. And still is its own thing. Among all of the Zelda games, it's still one of the strangest. But I wouldn't know about any of that, I'm just a kid. So this is a remake, or remaster, whatever you want to call it. Something that was very unexpected when it was announced, but in hindsight it makes perfect sense, because it is a beloved game, critically acclaimed, one of the best Game Boy games you could expect to play, I'm sure many would say. And Nintendo loves all that. They love a bit of nostalgia, they love a bit of making money off of the beloved, and they're not shy of doing strange things. So the fact that people didn't really expect a Link's Awakening redo is what should make it expected, because Nintendo. You can never predict the bizarre shit Nintendo wants to do. Now, of course, the thing that grabs one immediately when playing Link's Awakening is the visual style, the graphics, just how damn bloody gorgeous it looks. I've spoken many times in the past about how art direction trumps almost anything else when it comes to video games. You can have a massive budget and blow it on a brand new game engine, push the boundaries of hardware with lavish visual productions. But if your beautiful graphics don't have a strong artistic vision backing them up, if there isn't care and attention put into the actual style of what you're doing, then you are never going to look as good as a technically inferior looking game that did put a lot of love and care and resources into a strong, cohesive visual artistic style. Nintendo's proven that time and time again with technically on paper inferior hardware that nonetheless boasts amazing looking games. In terms of hardware, the Switch is weaker than the PlayStation 4, than the Xbox One, and yet games like Breath of the Wild or Super Mario Odyssey are some of the best looking this generation. And dare I say it, yes, I may bloody well dare say it, Link's Awakening probably looks better than both of those. It's more simplistic, to be sure, but it's so strong. The art style is so strong, and it is so bright, and it is so cheerful. It is so wonderfully animated that I think I might go on record. Yes, I will go on record and say that Link's Awakening is the best looking game I've played on Switch. It doesn't have to be overly complex, overly detailed, overly animated. The simplicity is what makes it work. From the gorgeous bright greens and blues and yellows, to the cheerful cartoon animations of Link and NPCs and enemies, to the beautiful water effects that look both simple and lavish at the same time. Link's Awakening is just a visual joy to experience. There's a shininess to everything that makes a lot of the characters look like they're made out of plastic, and that's something I could offer as a criticism, a downside in another game. But here, because of that strong, cohesive art style, it really works. They look like little plastic figurines, like toys brought to life and having little adventures. And it's just gosh darn downright darn gosh cute. While everything your eye holes are enjoying is backed up with some ear-hole-pleasing music, a wonderful soundtrack, especially the main overworld theme, which of course is that familiar, but it's done with these wonderful strings. It's got this beautiful, rich string sound to it. Rich, that's a word I don't use much in criticism, but it's a very suitable word for application here, I feel. The audio-visual style and presentation of Link's Awakening is very rich. The aesthetic may be the eye-catcher here, but it is only a part of the story, so how does it play? It's fine. It's a redo of a Game Boy game, and it doesn't really try to be a great deal more than that. And that's perfectly fine, that's perfectly acceptable, but it is a very old-school Zelda experience from a very rudimentary handheld system. And because it's so faithful in many ways, that could bore some people, especially if they're more used to something more complex, something more Breath of the Wild flavoured. This harkening back to an ancient day just might not be all that edifying. And as for myself, I wasn't fully engrossed. It's not bad, it's just, I don't know, compared to something like A Link to the Past even, it's not got a great deal going for it. Enemies all behave very similar to each other. It's very much a case of running around whacking things, occasionally blocking with your shield. And none of that's bad, I should say. None of that is bad. I'm not playing it thinking, I'm having a terrible time. I like the old school experiences now and then, but I gotta say I haven't been feeling particularly excited while I play this game. That's not to say I had a bad time either, I just didn't find myself particularly enthralled with it. It's a very straightforward retro experience, and that's absolutely fine. It's just not a game that for me is worth docking the Switch and playing it on the big screen to appreciate those visuals in their fullest, just because from a gameplay perspective it's something I'd rather, you know, just have something playing on YouTube or Netflix or whatever, while casually tinkering with this game in handheld mode. It can be a bit of a slow plodding game. Link tootles around the world at his own, not necessarily lethargic, but shall we say carefree pace. But the game does feature quality of life improvements that speed up various aspects of the game. There are more buttons on the Switch than there were on the Game Boy, so you spend less time going into the menu to switch out active items and abilities. Once Link gets his dash ability, then you can that's just mapped to a button, no worries there. But overall, the feel I get as I play this is that it's nice. And it's nice to have it on the Switch, and it's nice that it looks and sounds so lovely. It is nice, not great. I like it, I don't love it. If you get tired of exploring the main game, or if you just want more stuff to do, then you can find Dumpy, who offers the ability to build and explore your own dungeons. Now that has a lot of potential to create dungeon experiences, maybe share them online, do all sorts of cool stuff. Not quite as detailed as Mario Maker, but the foundation perhaps for an actual Zelda Maker, that'd be cool. But its actual implementation in Link's Awakening isn't all that enticing, really. You just plonk down pre-made dungeon tiles with their own enemies and items inside them, most of them cribbed from dungeons you've already experienced and completed in the main game. So like much of the Link's Awakening experience, it's nice that it's there, it's fine enough, but it didn't grab me, it didn't compel me to go back time and time again. All that said, I do think Link's Awakening is worth picking up. If you're a fan of Zelda, definitely. If you're not, but if you just want a retro adventure, then Link's Awakening will sort you out. It's not a demanding game. It doesn't ask you to pour hours and hours into grinding for anything. You don't need a ton of emotional or intellectual investment while playing. It's a laid-back, relatively chill piece of entertainment with a lot of quirky humour that still holds up just because it is a little bit weird. And after something as sweeping as Breath of the Wild, it is comfortable to feel like you've returned home to a more classic Zelda. Plod around the overworld, go into dungeons, solve straightforward puzzles, get items that help you navigate the world more to reach previously inaccessible areas. It's got all the good stuff. And as far as reimaginings of old games go, Link's Awakening is stunningly faithful. They've recreated the island of Kakarot with incredible authenticity. So that's your Link's Awakening. It's pretty solid stuff. It's not the most arresting game I've played. It's not something I enjoy playing for particularly long sessions, but in handheld mode that's fine. You can just pick it up in dribs and drabs, short sweet sessions. But it's gorgeous, it's adorable, and it's just comfy. Like your favourite pair of Christmas shoes. That'll do. Link's Awakening is Christmas shoes.